Hey, it's Mr. Roboto. This is the first trade recap I've ever done, so bear with me. So today I'm going to go over three trades. A trade I took on AMD, Roku, and MRNA. I did take some more trades. I took a trade on PayPal, for example, and I took a later trade on Disney. But those are smaller scalps and not really that much worth going over. So I want to focus on the three bigger trades that I took today. So first off, let's look at the index. So QQQ is one of the main indexes I take a look at every day. It really sets the tone for how I'm going to trade for the day, whether I'm going to trade calls or puts, or if I'm going to take the day off, or if I'm going to go heavier in the day or go lighter. QQQ sort of sets the tone for my trading day. So this is the candle that we made today. So you can see heading into today, I was pretty bullish. You can see that on Friday, very bullish price action. The bulls they stepped in from Thursday and really brought this up to the next level, and they closed above the was it Wednesday and Tuesday? They closed above those levels, and it closed very high up into this candle. So going into the day, I was very bullish. And if you actually look at the price action in pre-market, um, again, just more bullish sentiment. We brought the bulls brought it up to here, and then they pretty much held this level going into the start of the day. So this was the high on Friday, and they pretty much held this. So again, I was very bullish when I woke up around 7 this morning, and going into open, I was very bullish. So let's look at how I played AMD, one of the tickers that was on my watch. So first off, why was this on my watch list? So if you look at how it's setting up, this is the daily chart, for example. Disregard today's candle, but if you just look at what we had from Friday, there's a very clear level here, where if it breaks above this, then I'm looking to make calls, or I'm looking to take calls. This level was actually around 111. If we just round it up to 112, that was pretty much my key level going into the start of today. But if you look at the price action in pre-market, we already made it past pretty much 112. So I had to readjust my plan, and pretty much was thinking to myself, okay, let me find a level where if AMD breaks above it, I'm looking for an entry. And if we look at, so I ended up coming up with 112.33, and I'm pretty sure I got that from, the high on this day. So um, again, if we look at the high on Monday last week, this is 112.33. This was pretty much my key level. If AMD breaks above 112.33, and it breaks above it with volume, momentum, and velocity, then I'm looking to enter on any dips whatsoever. Again, I'm very bullish on AMD because it's pre-market, it's already gapped up, and the index QQQ is also looking very bullish. So let's look at what happened at the start of the day. So we can see that there's this, it's already gapping up like into open, and then right at open, um, it shot up to like right about here, if I remember correctly. And then it dropped down to right at my key level at 112. And it pretty much held. So right here, you gotta be quick. You gotta be very quick, and you can't hesitate. And right here is where I took calls. I already had my calls, picked ahead of time going into the start of the open. For every ticker that's on my watch list, I might have 3, 4, 5 tickers on my watch list. I already have the calls that I'm going to be take. I already have those queued up. I already know how much I'm going to take. So for AMD, for example, depending on the price of the contract, I might take 4 to 6, for example. But all of that is already predetermined. So I don't when I need to go and click the button, I don't have to think about how much I'm going to buy or what I'm going to buy. It's already predetermined. So yeah, when I saw AMD shoot up in the morning with a lot of velocity, and it came back down and gave me my dip entry at this 112, I went ahead and bought my full position. Um, and then I had this 30-minute supply here, and I got that from pretty much, this was a 30-minute, so if we go to 30 minutes, yeah, so I got it pretty much off of this this candle right here. Pretty much after this green candle, AMD short just knifed down. So this was essentially where I got this level, this 114.15. I knew that if the price action got back to this level, it would meet some resistance because this is where it sold off previously. So yeah, if we look back at it intraday, I entered here. Um, we got to this 114, and pretty much if it doesn't, this is a pretty big zone. Look at this zone. And, if it doesn't slice through like all of this zone immediately, then I know it's going to have some trouble because it's already hesitating right here, and it has so much more to go to clear this level. So pretty much right around here, I saw the tip of this candle, and I saw it coming down. Is pretty much where I sold. So again, my entries I bought here. I end up selling my full position here. I don't mess around. I don't try to hold for too long. I'm a scalper. Um, that's pretty much my personality. So sometimes I'll hold a little bit if it does seem a little bit bullish. But for AMD, I took my full position, and I took my full position. I took my full position here, and I sold everything here. So yeah, a pretty easy dip. I mean, not pretty easy, but pretty textbook. Very bullish stock, gapping up in the morning. It gave me my dip entry, and then I went ahead and sold at the first resistance. Let's take a look at Roku. So Roku was another very good trade this morning. Let's look at the daily. So this is the daily, and this is pretty much what I saw and why this was on my watch list. You can see that pretty much Roku is it had its highs, and now it's on the lows, and it's on this trend line, and it's just sort of consolidating here. There's sort of this upper trend line here where if it breaks above this, then I know there's a good chance that it's going to go keep going. So I'm looking to take calls above this yellow trend line, and then there's another one that that you can kind of take a look at. There's another trend line here if you connect these highs, where if it breaks this trend line, then there's a potential again to take a long position. So this is why Roku was on my watch list this morning, and then let's look at what it did. Pretty much, yeah. So Roku, for the past couple of days, it's sort of just been chopping around in this range. This is the sort of action that I don't necessarily like trading. Um, but I did have my zones ahead of time. There is this demand zone right here based off of this red candle. And then there is a 30-minute supply zone that if we turn this over, turn this to 30 minutes, you will see there is a 30-minute supply zone. I believe I got it from this candle right here. So I take the open this candle, and that is pretty much the beginning of my supply zone. And then, so yeah, you can essentially trade within this range. My plan going into open was to trade the breakout of Roku. But we can kind of see that the breakout of Roku, it sort of got stuffed right here. So I didn't take an entry because there's no entry. It didn't dip down into a level or anything. So I was sort of watching this breakout. If it got past this yellow level, then I would be looking to consider taking some calls, but it never got past here. There's no volume, there's no momentum, there's no velocity. So I just let it go, and I let it do its thing and let it settle. And then eventually it did hit this demand zone where there was an entry. So I ended up taking calls a little bit above the demand zone. I got a little bit impatient. So I entered around here and I exited at, I like to, this is something that Trey, if anyone watches Trey Scouts, he taught me, but he likes to sometimes scale at the bottom of resistance. So I actually took some scales here, right around this level, and then I took my last scales right around here. So that's pretty much how I traded. I could have waited to hit this 30-minute supply zone, um, but these two candles, I was more than happy with the profit that I had, so I just went ahead and took everything off at that point. So yeah, pretty textbook, demand, buy in demand, and then sell on the way up. Play. And then the last trade I want to talk about was MRNA. So this was a really good trade for me today. And my zones on this were pretty spot on. So I was very happy with how I traded MRNA. So first off, why was this on my watch list? So we can see that MRNA, actually this one wasn't on my specific watch list today, but I did have alerts for a specific demand zone. So let's look at this demand zone here. So pretty much MRNA was trading in this sort of wedge. It was on this bottom trend line and it was on its way up, And on Friday, it sort of sold off, and you would expect it to sort of bounce from this trend line, but it never did. So that's very bearish price action. And what it ended up doing this morning was selling off even more. So this was Friday, and it gapped down to start the day, and then at open it gapped down even more. But that's an opportunity for bulls to come in and buy at a demand zone, and that's exactly what we ended up doing today. So we have these two zones, a 1 hour at 367, and then another 1 hour at 362.8. And this level is actually where I took my calls. I took my full position right around here. And where did I get those levels? So if we look at the hourly, and this one actually was, I got the levels off of extended hours. So we'll turn that on for this. So you'll see that we have, this candle right here. This is where I like to draw my demand zones. So this was the first level. And then this level really stood out to me when I was drawing my levels. Why? Because it has this very long wick, and this shows me that there's a lot of buyers here. There's a lot of buyers. The minute the price got down to here, they shot it back up. So there were a lot of orders here, and there's a lot of people looking to buy MRNA around this area. So I took this level right here. You can see that this opened at 362.8. And so that's where I drew 362.8 was a very key level for me, and where I would look to enter my contracts. So let's see how that ended up playing out. So 362.8, and then if you look at the bottom of this is amazing. The low of this was 362.8. So it was on the dot where that basing candle was. This is where the price action stopped, or this is where MRNA bounced today. And where did I exit? So I did have this 1 hour supply zone up here, but I actually exited a little bit early. I exited right around here at this pre-market like high level right here, and then I did leave one contract left, and I exited that around right around here. So very good trade. Yes, I could have held on. MRNA did end up making a huge move. I could have doubled my profits had I stayed in, but I was more than happy with my exits here today. And I did go in a little bit heavier than normal. So yeah, I was more than happy to scale out everything here. In hindsight, yeah, I definitely could have stayed in a little bit longer, and that's potentially something I'm working on to hold my really good positions a little bit longer. But yeah, that's essentially the three biggest trades, or the three main trades that I took today. Again, I took some scalps on Disney. Um, Disney did offer us this demand zone right here. I had a demand zone right around here that I ended up taking calls here, and I sold it around here. And then at the end of the day, I ended up taking a short, or I took puts on AMD right around here. So we'll see how this works out in the morning. If it gaps down, then I'll start the day with some profits. But other than that, that's about it. Wait, so I hope you guys learned anything. And hit me up on Twitter if you have any questions. And I'm looking to do these a little bit more often. I'm looking to get better at doing these and being more informative. But if there's anything that you would like me to cover or talk a little bit more about, then just feel free to hit me up, and I'll see if I can answer any questions. But hey, thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys around.